guys? We are back with another song by Eminem. And which one are we doing today?
Today we're doing Leaving Heaven featuring Skylar Grey.
I don't know that one.
No,
No.
it's actually a very good song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess I don't know if I ever played it for you at all, but it is track number 9 off of Music to Be Murdered By as we're going through.
Is it sad?
It's angry,
Angry. Okay.
touches on his dad who
Mm.
died. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is the first place he acknowledged his death. Like there was no like interviews or anything, you know what I mean? So like the news came out that he died, and then this is the first you hear Eminem comment on it.
Did they ever speak?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think someone said that like Eminem was like considering it, maybe, but I don't think so. So,
Interesting.
yeah, so he gets into that a little bit in this song.
All right.
Yes.
Well, before we get started, this video is sponsored by Carnivore Snacks. I was just eating one and they're amazing. Like, literally so delicious. This is the ribeye flavor. I love this one. I also love every single slider that they have. They're all really, really, really good. And it's just 2 ingredients, grass-fed beef ribeye in this one and Redmond real salt. And they're all regeneratively raised, the meats, meaning that like the land regenerates. They're not feeding them like a corn, like bullshit diet. Like it's all good for you meat. It's Joe Rogan's favorite snack. And it's my favorite snack too. And if you haven't tried it, you really, really, really should. I definitely recommend the ribeye, the lamb sliders, the beef sliders, all the sliders, because it's like eating a meat potato chip. And it's literally the best snack. So good for you. No crazy oils, fillers, nothing. It's just 2 ingredients. Like you can't get more simple than that. And if you haven't tried before, definitely try it. You can use our coupon code with Smith and you will save 15% off your first purchase. Or is it first purchase or is it all purchases?
I think it's first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. My brain is not functioning today. We've been away from doing our videos for a little while. So if you can, considering we don't edit, check our other video and it'll tell you if it is a first purchase or all purchases. Okay. My brain's broken. We're also sponsored by Chomps, which is my other favorite meat snack and my absolute favorite beef jerky. This is the turkey one. This one's great. They're all great, but that gray one right there, that venison salt and pepper flavor, that's my favorite. They're all minimal ingredients, only ingredients you know and can pronounce, minimal calories. They're either free range or grass fed because chickens don't eat grass. Or at least I don't think they do. But no corn bullshit here as well. And it's all good for you. And if you haven't tried Chomp's beef jerky yet, you definitely should. And you can use our coupon code with Smith for 10% off your order and an additional 10% off subscriptions. We are also sponsored by SeatGeek, and SeatGeek is a great website to get tickets for like concerts, sporting events, comedians, like any type of ticket. There's a bunch of categories here, but it's not limited to that. Yeah, you can also get Broadway tickets if you're into that. I'm not a fan, but maybe you are. And you can use our coupon code with Smith for $20 off your first purchase. And the link is in the description below for everything. Check out our Amazon storefront. That's also in the link in the description below. Like and subscribe and follow us on social media channels if you want to. And that's it.
Yes.
Yeah. Totally fumbled. We haven't been doing videos for a while. It's not my fault.
So as I said, this is track number 9 off of Music to Be Murdered By. And we're gonna do what we always do. We'll listen, break it down, all that stuff. Here we go.
Yeah, knew this day was coming. Sometimes you gotta come back down.
I'm going to hell now, man.
Stoop to someone's level. Yeah. 5 dozen flies buzzing over your head. Call me the Grim Reaper. Sleep is my cousin. You take to me now, and I'ma be the last face you see for you die, cousin. My eye are tigers, and I'm a survivor, so I will rise up and be triumphant. Cause when I'm looking at my legacy. Bunch of dogs trying to dry hump it like Triumph the puppet. So I'm like, fuck it, pot of carnage up till it's so high it's touching the sky. Let them all line up in the tag, single filing up in a stack. Call them toy soldiers, yeah, cause they just wind up on their backs. Now the sky is nothing but black, but I am not coming back. I done told ya, I told the woke me to go to sleep, but still they keep on provoking me. They're hoping to see me completely broken emotionally. But how in the fuck am I not supposed to be woke when these fuckers just keep poking me now?
I'm leaving heaven. I'm leaving heaven. Angels won't find me where I am going.
All right.
Yeah, I don't believe I know this.
It's got an interesting like feel to it, right?
Yeah, I like it.
Like everything about it, like the way Eminem's delivering his lines, the way Skylar Gray's singing, like it's
Yeah,
different,
and it's very slow.
It is very slow pace. So it's interesting. This is a song like I'll see it pop up and I'm like, oh, that's cool. And I don't necessarily always listen to it, but when I do, I'm like, oh my God, this is like one of the best songs on the album.
Really?
Yeah, because there's like there's a lot of clever lines. So it's mostly storytelling. So it sounds like he's just telling a story and he's not doing anything crazy lyrically.
Mhm.
And it's not his most like technically crazy song, but there's like
Yeah.
a few really cool things he does in here.
Okay.
Yes. All right. So it starts off, Eminem goes right in. He says, 5 dozen, flies buzzing over your head. Call me the Grim Reaper, sleep is my cousin. You dead to me now, and I'ma be the last face you see before you die cussin'.
So I guess the flies are flying because he's like dying.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this seems to be foreshadowing, as I mentioned, and later in the song about his father dying.
Oh, okay.
But so he does say, "Call me the Grim Reaper, because sleep is my cousin." Right? So sleep is the cousin of death.
Yes. And Grim Reaper's death
Yeah.
brings death.
So and then he says, "You're dead to me now." So it's interesting. This could be directly to his father, meaning you're dead to me now. He's literally dead, but he could also just be talking like symbolically, like he's lyrically killing people. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's the last face you're gonna see before you die cussing.
Okay.
He continues, "My eye's a tiger, and I'm a survivor, so I will rise up and be triumphant, because when I'm looking at my legacy, bunch of dogs trying to dry hump it." That's such a sick line. So there's a few things here. Eye of the Tiger
Okay, yeah.
is by Survivor.
Okay, because I was like, I feel like there's something there.
Yeah, the group.
I didn't know who sang that
Yeah,
song.
Survivor is the name of the group. So
Okay.
my eye's a tiger and I'm a survivor, so Survivor. So I'll rise up and be triumphant. So that ties in with the eye of the tiger, the whole Rocky thing. And then when he says, "When I'm looking at my leg, I see
Oh, my leg, I see.
a bunch of dogs trying to dry hump it."
And then I know he mentions Triumph after this, but
Yeah.
also like triumphant, like it's Triumph the dog.
Yes. So yeah, the play is on legacy. So his what he's leaving behind, and like you just said, leg
Yeah.
I see. So
Yeah.
dogs humping his leg, but also people are humping his legacy, like his
Yeah, like
on
trying
his
to
shit.
like steal it or trying to
Yes,
like capitalize off of it.
exactly. So that was a cool little clever thing. And then like you just said, like triumphant the puppet.
Triumph.
Yes. So I'm like, fuck it. Pile the carnage up till it's so high, it's touching the sky. Let them all line up and attack, single filing up in the stack. So,
So he's just letting chaos, he's just causing chaos, not doing anything about it.
yeah.
And then, yeah.
So he introduces the scheme here of line them all up and attack, single file in a stack, right? So we see that he does in the next line, he refers to like toy soldiers, but this is something you would do with like toy soldiers. You know what I mean? You would line them up, single file, like it's like kind of
Okay.
like military type things. And then he continues, he says, "Call them toy soldiers because they just wind up on their backs." So
It's a good double
that's
entendre.
really cool.
Because, like, I mean, I never had toy soldiers, so I don't really know how they work, but I know, like, kids' dolls, like, you wind up the back and then they, like, talk or they walk.
Walk, yeah.
But then when you say someone winds, like they end up on their backs,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
you're fucked.
Yeah, so that's a really cool thing he does there. Then he continues, now the sky's nothing but black, and I am not coming back. I done told you. I told the woke me to go to sleep.
Well, that's good.
Yes. So the sky's nothing but black. So I guess darkness. This kind of goes along with the theme. So the song's called "Leaving Heaven," which we get a better idea later of what that means. Because like even the chorus we just heard, it's like, what does that mean? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
like typically, like I mean, when you think about it, that means you got up to heaven, but you're either like, I don't know, coming back to be a person again, or you're going to hell,
Yes.
or you're, I don't know, going anywhere else.
Yeah, so the imagery of the sky is nothing but black. The black skies kind of parallels with that thought. And I'm not coming back. So I done told the woke me to go to sleep. So we know from Revival, people saying, "Oh, Eminem's woke," all
Yeah,
that. He got it from like both ends. Like typically right-wing people were like, "Shut up with your woke shit," and then even like typical left-wing people were like, "We don't want to hear it. Like, what are you doing?" You know what I
yeah,
mean? So then he continues, but still, they keep on provoking me. They're hoping to see me completely broken emotionally. But how the fuck am I not supposed to be woke when these fuckers just keep poking me? So that's a really cool line.
yeah, that's a good one.
So he does a play on woke, meaning awake, and
Yeah,
then woke on like socially conscious and aware of the system, all that shit, like the way people use the word woke today. So he's saying like, yeah, how can I not be woke when they keep poking me? Meaning like they're awakening
yeah,
him,
like yeah, like poking the bear.
but then also like I'm gonna be that. I'm gonna be woke because of yeah. So that's really sick. And he says, people want to see him broken. We get into the hook, very simple
This isn't
lines.
the chorus.
So it is. But I'm leaving heaven. I'm leaving heaven. Angels won't find me. Where are you going? So it's kind of a mystery at this point.
Yeah, I don't know.
It sounds really nice though. Again, the way she delivers these
Yeah,
lines. All right, we're gonna pick it up here.
I've been down, kicked like around 6,000 times since I was a kid. As a child, picked on, clown, dick, countless times I've been outed. Gotta remind myself of it every now and then. So the route I went, self-empowerment in a hole, taught myself how to get out of it and balance it with talents, wit, cause life is like a penny. Cause it's only 1% who overcome the shit they learned to win. I went AWOL like what my back was up against. Don't tell me about struggle, bitch, I lived it. I was 5 or 6 the first time I got my hind end kicked. Malcolm Isaac and Boogie jumped me and took my tricycle. And I don't know if I would call that white privilege. Yeah, but I get it, how it feels to be judged by pigment. Besides getting it from both sides of the tracks, but I swore I'd get them back, even if it meant selling my soul to get my riff engine. Thought of a scheme and it got me to thinking if I could believe in myself, I could probably achieve it. That's part of the reason I feel I'm talking with Deacon. As long as I'm breathing, about how I smother and beat him. A god with a heart of a demon, go at him and I'ma get even like I'm in the garden of Eden. I'm about to go off of the deep end, cause evil is calling, I'm already seething.
I'm leaving heaven. I'm leaving heaven. Angels won't find me where I am going.
Okay, so what?
Okay. So
that went so fast.
I know. So this is the last pause. We're gonna let the rest of the
Yes.
song play out after this. So the lyrics, I noticed a few of them were messed up here. So I'm gonna have to read from my phone. I'm always prepared with the lyrics here. So he comes in, second verse, he says, I've been down, kicked, like around 6,000 times since I was a kid. As a child, picked on, clowned, been countless times I've been doubted.
So, I mean, we've learned all of this just from all of his prior music. He was bullied, he was treated like shit, and like, no one really believed in him ever.
Yes, and countless times he was doubted, straightforward. Got to remind myself of it every now and then. So the route I went, self empowerment, in a hole, taught myself how to get out of it and balance it with talents, wit. So he's like, I got to remind myself of where I came from,
Yeah, like more of the same.
especially because he's like rich now, all that stuff.
Yeah, not let everything get to his head. Like, just remember who you really are.
Yeah, and like you already said, this is like a common theme, but he said, so the route I went self-empowerment. So instead of like whining and feeling bitter and sorry, he's like, all right, I'm going to do something about it. And then he does this imagery of in a hole, taught myself how to get out of it.
It's a good
So
one.
yeah. And then he says, balance it with talents and then wit. It's kind of a double entendre. So use your talents and your wit, but then he uses wit as if he's saying with because he continues um, and then he says, because life is like a penny, because it's only 1% who overcome the shit they underwent.
I don't agree with that.
I went AWOL like what my back was up against. So this is cool. So yeah,
Ah, that's a good
yeah,
line.
it's very good.
Okay, now
It's clever.
I get it.
So yeah, he's life's like a penny, which is 1 cent, because it's only 1% who overcome the shit they've underwent.
That'd be really sad if only 1% of people overcame the shit that they've been through in their life.
Yeah. So I wonder if he means like
It sounds like he's talking about the 1%, like the rich, the rich of the rich.
no, I don't interpret that at all.
No?
Yeah, no, I interpret it as like people who like persevere over it. So I agree with what you're saying. It's like only 1% of people
It
can
would be a
overcome their
pretty fucking
struggles.
miserable world.
But I wonder if he means like completely resolved, like we're to the point where they don't have any like resentments or reservations about it. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I don't know. He
Or
didn't really go that deep.
or so which I think would be true is only 1% of the people could do like what he did, coming from like that poor to being that rich. You know what I mean? Like in that
Okay.
context, like that's true. You know what I mean? And then I,
Yeah, but then it's kind of like saying like, oh, like that's truly overcoming it. Like I think just making it and becoming, having a good job, making money, having a family, I think that's overcoming
no, I
something like
agree.
that.
I
Like I don't
agree.
think you have to be a multimillionaire.
So I mean, it's even less than 1% of the people who did what he did. You know what I mean?
Well,
So if you
yeah,
look at it,
it's more like it's like
a fraction of a
much smaller.
yeah. So but then he does this really cool, clever thing, which is why I think he used it. But he says, "Who overcome the shit they underwent." So
Like overcome and under what they're like
literally the
opposite.
over and the under and then come and went, so like both were, it's sick how it's
Yeah,
like
they're like opposite
yeah.
words.
And then I went AWOL like what my back was up against.
So AWOL is when you leave the military without being discharged, and a wall like a wall,
Yeah,
like on your house.
yeah, it stands for
Your
absent without leave, and
yeah.
it's pronounced AWOL typically, and then WALL like you said, like his back was up against the wall. That's the shit he overcame. All right, then he continues, he says, don't tell me about struggle, bitch. I lived it. I was 5 or 6 the first time I got my hind end kicked. Malcolm, Isaac, and Boogie jumped me and took my tricycle.
So yeah, like we know this about him. Like he was like heavily bullied, treated like garbage when he was little.
So this is yeah, so like you that's all true, like you said. So he was 5 or 6 the first time he got his ass kicked. Now there's another song, I forget what song it is. It might be in the annotations of this, whatever. He tells the story about, I believe it was Isaac. Was it Malcolm? One of them. So I think it's Isaac or Malcolm was like his friend, like his best friend.
Really?
And then he turned on him and stole his bike with these other kids, and he was like really hurt by it.
Aw.
Yeah, it's like very sad. Um, so this is a true story, like what he's referring to here. So Malcolm, Isaac, and Boogie jumped me and took my tricycle. And then on that thought, he says, and I don't know if I would call that white privilege. Yeah, but I get it. How it feels to be judged by pigment, besides getting it from both sides of the tracks.
That's like a really interesting way to point out that all three of those people were black.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very funny. I
Yeah.
didn't even think about that. That's funny that you say that because I was just thinking like, oh, regardless of who they were, he was because Eminem was white. It means doesn't necessarily mean he had white privilege, but I mean we know that he lived in like predominantly black neighborhoods and
Yeah.
stuff. So, like he said in the part before, where he said, "Don't tell me about struggle, bitch. I lived it." Right? So then he's questioning. This is very interesting. It's surprising to hear Eminem talk like this, especially these days. He's like, I don't know if I would call that white privilege, like calling into question the idea of privilege as a
Well, like basically
blanket.
like saying everyone who's white has white
Yeah.
privilege.
So he's calling that into
Not
question.
him.
But then he says, yeah, but I get it, how it feels to be judged by pigment. So, he's empathizing with black people who, have felt like racism or whatever based on skin color. And he's like, I understand because I went through that as a child. You
Yeah.
know, it's interesting if you listen to Howard Stern, he grew up in a black neighborhood. I forget if it was Elma, Freeport, somewhere on Long
Mm.
Island where we're from. And he was in an all black neighborhood and he talks about how he was the minority and he would get bullied and picked on. It's like it's an unfortunate thing, no matter where you are, the minority in any scenario is the
It's just when
minority.
you're different.
You're different and people are going to fuck with you
People
because
will
of it.
bully people who are different, whether it's on the surface or if it's your personality. If you're, I mean, I wouldn't consider someone weird, but if like someone thinks you're weird, they're gonna bully you. Like it's mean. People
Yeah.
bully people who fall outside of what is considered quote unquote normal or average for like their the group of people that they're with.
Yeah, people are tribal to begin with, and they decide, they form. I don't know why this is not really related. Do you remember we were just talking recently about how the social scientists said when children are around adults, they identify as children and adults, but when children are around other children, they identify as boys and girls. So,
Yeah,
like
it's
in their mind,
interesting.
they form their own tribal groups. So, if children are around adults, they're like, oh, kids and adults, that's how we see ourselves as a group,
They
right?
also form hierarchies like immediately. Like I remember being in kindergarten and there was in our classroom there was already a popular table. And it was like an unspoken thing. Like you just knew like, oh, that's the popular table. Like we're like 5 years old. How is that a thing? Like
Yeah.
how does that happen? It's so weird.
Yeah. So anyway, the I guess me bringing that up is that, people form tribes and they form groups and they otherize people. It's kind
Yeah.
of like a fucked up thing that human beings do. So he's talking about this being judged by his pigment, and then he says, besides getting it from both sides of the tracks. So he's referring to like 8 Mile, but he's referring to, which we've heard in other songs as well, he would get his ass kicked, he said, in the white side and the black side of town. So like
So he was one bullied for being white and two bullied for being different.
and bullied for acting black around white people. Do you know what I mean? Because he identified with them. That also is something he's spoken about. Okay, and then he continues. He says, but I swore I'd get them back, even if it meant selling my soul to get my revenge, and thought of a scheme, and it got me thinking. So this is straightforward. He's in the middle of this is the part where he starts picking up and going really quick. But he's saying, he's going to get revenge on them, even if he has to sell his soul, and his scheme to get back on them, which we know is rapping. All right, he continues. It got me thinking, if I can believe in myself, I could probably achieve it. That's part of the reason I do all my talking with ink. And as long as I'm breathing, I vow to outsmart them and beat them. So, yeah, these lyrics are wrong. That's why I'm reading from here.
Yeah, I'm looking at your phone.
Yeah, so his scheme is that if he believes in himself, he could achieve, right? That's why I do my talking in ink. So it's rap, right? Hip hop saved his life. And as long as he's breathing, he's going to outsmart them and beat them.
And he does.
Yes. Then he says, my God, what a heart of a demon. Go at him and I'm going to get even like I'm in the Garden of Eden. I'm about to go off the deep end. This evil is calling. I'm already seething. And so there's a really clever thing he does here. Do you pick up on it? So whatever, the first part is, but God, what a heart of a demon.
Garden of Eden.
Yeah, it does.
So like Eden and eating? No?
So it does have to do with the Garden of Eden. It's not that. Okay, so he says, but God. So he introduces God there, right? But he means as like God, like, oh God, what a heart of a demon. So then there's the demon there. He says, go at him, and I'm gonna
Oh,
get
Adam
and
and
I'm
Eve.
and I'm gonna get even. So he introduced like I'm in the Garden of Eden. So yes, God, the demon, which in the Garden of Eden story, the serpent who tempted Adam and Eve, go Adam, so like at them, ADAM, and then even, EVE, Garden of Eden, all that.
That's a good
It's very
one.
clever, and it'll go past you if you're not like paying
Yeah,
attention.
what he goes too fast at this point. I didn't even hear what was going on.
I heard this song like a few times before I even picked up on that because I was like I'm in the Garden of Eden. I was like, wait, what does he mean? What do you mean, like?
Yeah,
I was like,
it's the Garden of
what?
Eden is just thrown in there, so it has to be connected somehow.
Yeah, because he had the like. I was like, oh, there's something I'm missing. And then he says, I'm about to go off the deep end. This evil is calling, and I'm already seething. And so yeah, so he's equating the evil calling him like the serpent in the Garden of Eden. All right. And then it goes back into the chorus. So we're gonna let the rest of this play out. Still about half the song left, but that's it. We're gonna break it down at the end.
Okay, so while Macklemore was keeping his room nice and neat, I was getting my ass beat twice a week, looking for a place for the night where I could sleep. Flipping sofa cushions open, just trying to see if I can find some change and scrape up a bite to eat. If denying me, find a couple dimes a piece, 25 cents each, you get us a bag of chips. We'd be glad to get ya, even if we had to split. We do backward flips, looking back at it. I think that would fit with the definition of not having shit. Couple that with the fact my mother was bad shit, pop was a sack of shit. Yeah, he died, but I gave half a shit. Yeah, which brings me back to the dear old dad that I zero had since a year old 47-year-old scab. Just to hear them words, ear piercing, like my earlobe stabbed with a needle for an earring. Should I feel upset? You were dead to me before you died. Me, tear no shed. Should I have made a mural at your funeral? Had your coffin draped with a hero's flag? Where the fuck you were at when D'Angelo done hurt me real bad? At the Rio Grande, never meet your grandkids. Fucking coward, only gut you had was from your stomach fat. I couldn't see your ass going to heaven, so I'm asking for a pass to go to hell so I can whip your fucking ass. I hate that I never get to say I hate you to your face. No coming back from where I'm going. Sky is dark, my soul is black. Hand on the shovel, dig with the blade of it that I stamp on the metal. Vendetta to settle, tell the devil
I'm leaving heaven.
yeah.
I'm leaving heaven.
You know, I should dig your motherfucking ass up just to spit in your fucking face. Holding my baby pictures up like you're proud of me. Fuck you, bitch. You know what? Maybe if I'd have had you, I wouldn't have went through half the shit I went through. So I blame you. Or maybe I should say thank you. Cause I wouldn't have been me. Yeah. So I'ma let it go now. Rest in peace, cocksucker. See you in hell.
Oh, man. It's funny. I knew what he said there, and it still gave me the chills. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, he's pissed.
Yeah. Well, he acknowledged it as a 47-year-old scab. So he acknowledges it's something that still haunts him.
Well, yeah, like something that hasn't healed.
There's one line in there that like it kills me. We'll get to it. So he comes in third verse and he says, okay, so while Macklemore was keeping his room nice and neat, I was getting my ass beat twice a week, looking for a place for the night where I could sleep.
So being like, yeah, like there are other white rappers, but like, have you really gone through what I've gone
Well,
through?
that's the line from
But I mean, white rappers aside, there are all different types of rappers who definitely have not gone through what Eminem has gone
so
through.
yeah, but this is a direct so the song Macklemore made about the gay people, remember? It was a big hit. It was like it won like awards and
Thrift
shit.
shopping?
Nah. It was about gay people, and he has that line where he's like, when I was in whatever grade, I thought I was gay because
Oh,
I would keep my room straight. That was like the line in the
he
song.
thought he was gay because he cleaned his room.
Yeah, something like his uncle was gay and he was good at stuff that his uncle was, and he would keep his room neat, and so like he thought he was gay. Whatever.
Okay.
So that's Eminem's referring to that line where he says, so while he was keeping his room nice and neat, I was getting my ass beat twice a week. So it's a shot at Macklemore for like no reason,
Well,
which is
I
very
mean, just
funny.
like a public service announcement, if you're a man and you like to keep your room clean, you're not, that doesn't make you gay.
It wasn't just there was some other, but
That's
it is.
totally
It's
fine.
funny.
Like,
But again, that's the mind of a kid. You know what I mean? You're like, oh my God, am I gay? Am I different? You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, I get that logic. Um, looking for a place for the night where I could sleep. So that makes me think it goes from getting my ass beat twice a week. He said he was like 5 or 6 when that happened, but then looking for a place where I could sleep. So that makes me think he's like in his teenage years at that point. You know what I mean?
Or just when his mom would kick him out.
Yeah, but I doubt she was kicking him out at 5 or 6.
She said she would kick him out all the time.
So she would like send him to like his grandma and stuff.
Yeah.
And then he continues, flipping sofa cushions over just to trying to see if I could find some change and scrape up for a bite to eat if Danon and me could find a couple dimes apiece. So poverty, being poor, looking for change just to get food. Danon, Mr. Porter, there just get some change. 25 cents each. It'd get us a bag of chips. We'd be glad to get that. Even if we had to split, we'd do backwards flips looking back at it. So if they get 25-cent bag chips,
Yeah, even if they didn't have enough money, they would split a bag.
so he does a cool little, very subtle gymnastic scheme here. He's like, even if we had to split,
Yeah.
we would do backward flips. So like little gymnastic. And then looking back at it, I think that would fit with the definition of not having shit. Couple that with the fact that my mother was batshit. Pop was a sack of shit. Yeah, he died, but I gave half a shit. So, again, straightforward, the not having shit. He was just telling
Yeah.
the story. His mom was crazy, which we know from his music. Pop was a sack of shit. Yeah, he died, but I gave half a shit. So that's interesting.
So he's not saying he didn't care at
Yeah.
all,
He said he half a shit.
which like I can understand that.
Yeah. Like you don't really care, but you do. Like it affects you somehow.
'Cause like I was adopted, so it's a different situation because, I was raised and taken care of by like my parents, but I have, biological parents, and if they died, I would be like, "Huh, like that's sad," I
Yeah.
feel bad, but like
Not the
I don't
same as
know
if your
them. Like
parents
they
died.
raised me, they're not my parents.
So, I mean, that's exactly what he's talking about. You know what I mean?
But he has a bitterness. I mean, I guess being adopted, whether you realize it or not, you have a little bitterness too, because it's like, well, like, why do you give me up? You know what I
Well,
mean?
yes, but that is way better than
Well, yeah,
a
no,
father
of
leaving.
course.
You know what I
I'm not
mean?
saying it's the same thing.
No, I think it's similar though. Like the feelings that he's describing and what you're describing, it's just like for him, yeah.
Yeah.
So he says, I gave half a shit. Yeah, which brings me back to the dear old dad that I zero had since a year old, 47-year-old scab, just to hear them words, ear piercing. So he goes back into the thought of his dad that he zero had, so wasn't in his life since a year old. So he took off when he was a year old, and
How do
then
you do that?
I know. And he says 47-year-old scab. So
We were just talking about this. So basically, like if a scab's that old, like it just hasn't healed. So like
yeah,
he still has pain. It's never gonna go away. Even with him dead now, he's still so angry.
yeah, that's very fitting imagery because it becomes scabs will become scars, right? But if
But
it's
that's a healed
if it's a scab, it means it's still
healing.
still raw and it's not done yet.
But if it's 47 years old, it's not healing. It's not gonna heal.
I think he keeps
It's just gonna
picking at it,
stay like
maybe.
that.
Yeah. And then just to hear the words ear piercing. So the words he was referring to is that his dad died. So it's ear piercing, like my earlobe stabbed with a needle for an earring. Should I feel upset? You were dead to me before you died. Me, tear no shed. So
So he's definitely still angry, still bitter, still, has a lot of hate for him. He's like, I could give a shit less because he wasn't there for him. He went through a lot of trauma. He went through a lot of pain, and his dad was nowhere to be found the whole time.
So yes, but it's interesting. He also seems to have confusion where he says, "Should I feel upset?" Which he might mean it rhetorically, like, "Oh, am I supposed to feel upset?"
Yeah.
But I think he
Or
actually,
he's asking us, like, do you think
well,
should I
I
feel upset? Like, no.
like because he's probably like this is the man who sired me. You know what I mean? Like he gave birth to me with my mother.
He
And
he
it's
didn't
like,
give birth.
well, they did, they
Yeah.
created him. So he's like, should I feel upset? Like, you know what I mean? And then he's like, so before you actually died, we had no
He's just
relationship.
a
I already
sperm
wrote you
donor.
off. And then he said, me tear no shed. So he didn't cry when he heard it. Should I have made a mural at your funeral? Had your coffin draped with the hero's flag? So this is obviously, I don't think he's really asking himself these questions. Here it's just straight up like, oh, when I'm supposed to do these things, like what you do. Um,
If you don't even know a single thing about the guy, like what his favorite color was, what his favorite food was, the answer is no.
yeah. So he's like, fuck you, you don't deserve anything. And then this is the line that like because we know the story, I was like, oh God, where he says, where the fuck were you at when D'Angelo done hurt me real bad at the Rio Grande?
That was when he was sent to the hospital by that kid.
Yeah, D'Angelo Bailey.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, oh man, like, and it's he equates the fact that he ties those two things together, like, I don't know, there's something about him putting that into words. Like, we know he doesn't have a father, and we know the story about D'Angelo beating him, but he's like, where were you when this happened to me? You know?
I wonder if he was like he knew or if like he literally just never knew anything, like never kept in contact with anyone. Like obviously didn't speak with Eminem, but like maybe like he would speak with his mom here and there, or it was just nothing, no contact, he's gone. That's it.
So we heard in Headlights the song where he makes amends with his mom, where he's talking shit about his dad and he's like, fuck him. I never wonder where he was. But then there's that line in there where he gives him the benefit of the doubt, where he's like, sure, maybe it was tough for him keeping up with every address, like almost giving him a little bit of, which to me implied like his dad might have had trouble tracking him down, before he was famous and stuff. You know what I mean?
If he tried to.
If he did. All right. Then he continues, never met your grandkids. Fucking coward. Only guts you ever had was from your stomach fat. I couldn't see your ass going to heaven, so I'm asking for a pass to go to hell.
It's like self-explanatory.
Yeah, he's a coward, never met his grandkids.
And the only guts you got is your stomach, like your guts are in your stomach, but also guts like balls.
Yeah. Um, and then yeah, so this is where we fully flesh out the idea of leaving heaven, where he says, I couldn't see you going to heaven, so I'm asking for a pass to go to hell. So that's why he wants to leave heaven. So I can whip your fucking ass. I hate that I'll never get to say I hate you to your face. No coming back from where I'm going. So straightforward, but he wants to whip his ass, and he regrets that he never gets to say it to his face.
Yeah. And like really like hurt him back and let him know how hurt he is as well.
Yes, and no coming back from where I'm going, which is hell, it sounds like. Sky is dark, my soul is black, hand on the shovel, dig with the blade up, and then I step on the metal, vendetta to settle, tell the devil.
So he's
So,
burying him. Oh, he's digging him up or burying
yeah.
him.
So, yeah. Hold on. The imagery. Yeah. So, I don't know if he's like digging to hell or if he's digging him up. I think he's digging him up. So, yeah, he's digging it up. Tell the devil. So that goes right into
The chorus.
which is I'm leaving heaven. And then he does these ad libs over the chorus, which is like crazy. It's like the most powerful part of the song.
Yeah.
He says, yeah, I should dig your motherfucking ass up just to spit in your fucking face. Then he says, holding my baby pictures up like you're proud of me. Fuck you, bitch.
I can actually relate to that.
Yeah.
My birth mom did that on Facebook.
Oh, yeah, that was
She
wild.
was posting all my photos and she made it her profile picture. And I'm like, you're like, you can't be
Yeah, it's
proud of
bizarre.
me. Just,
Yeah, it's bizarre.
you're not my mom. You know what I mean? Like,
It's even
what are
more.
you doing?
So, yeah, that's bizarre, but it's very fucked up because
Oh, yeah, his is fucked up
it's
because
because
he's
he's
like,
famous.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
exactly.
Like that's why. Like
Yeah.
it's because he's
But
famous
like for
and
anyone wondering, like, what's wrong with that? Like, that's what's wrong with that. They didn't raise you. They weren't there for you. They can't claim that, like, oh, like, I'm the parent.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're not. You weren't there. You didn't help in any of this.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. The only thing that might have helped is your absence is what helped shape him into the person he is, but that's
Yeah.
not something to be proud of.
Yeah, which is what he says at the end. Then he continues, you know what? Maybe if I'd have had you, I wouldn't have went through half the shit that I went through. So I blame you. Which is a reasonable thought to have,
But
you
he
know what I
also
mean?
probably wouldn't be who he is
Which is
today.
exactly what he says.
Yeah.
He says, or maybe I should say thank you, because I wouldn't have been me. Haha.
Yeah, I didn't even remember that part.
And then he says, so I'm gonna let it go now. Rest in peace, cocksucker. Ha ha ha. See you in hell.
Which is funny because that means
Yes.
Eminem's like,
Going to hell.
yeah, thinking that he will.
Yes. All right. Leaving heaven.
So very interesting. I've never heard this before. It's really, really good. I going into it, I thought it was gonna be sad. It's definitely not sad. It's very angry
Very
and
angry.
angsty.
Yeah.
And I feel bad that he still has so much anger and he's dead. So there will never really be a way to just you know, like if he were to meet him and just tell him exactly how he felt, like at least he would have some sort of a weight lifted. He doesn't get that opportunity now.
Yes. Yeah, it sucks. That's something that like never leaves you. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're always gonna have that feeling, those thoughts, whatever it is. So Eminem's luckier than most because he's like one of the biggest artists in the world. He was able to curse his dad out, so his dad heard the shit he talked about in the songs
Well,
about
yeah,
him.
but if he just had that option to be face to face with him and to say everything that he always wanted to say, and then to hear what his dad had to say and his bullshit reasons or whatever, and maybe realize that, like, oh, wow, like what he did was fucked up, but he's not, you know, a monster.
Yeah, who
I don't
knows?
know. You know what I mean? Like sometimes, like,
There's nothing. The problem with that is there's nothing that could be said that would
well, of
like,
course,
unless
but
it was like, oh, I was kidnapped and I was in a cave somewhere halfway across the world for 30 years and that's the only reason I couldn't get to you. You know what I mean? There's like nothing that could be said.
it's a lot easier to just never speak with someone and just constantly vilify them and imagine that they're the devil than to actually speak to them, tell them how you feel, and realize that they're also human.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether their reasoning could never be good,
No,
but
of course not.
you know,
Yeah, it's interesting. The song though is incredible. Like I said, it's one of those like I see it and I'm like, oh, this is a cool song. But when I listen to it, I'm like, oh wow, this is like an incredible song. It's like
yeah,
really powerful.
it is. It really is.
You
It's
know,
really good.
yeah, it's got a unique sound, different vibe to it. It's like a creative, different perspective sound for Eminem, and I like
And
it.
it's very
Yeah,
intense.
very for sure.
But yeah. So definitely check out Carnivore Snacks, Chomp, SeatGeek, like and subscribe, check out Amazon storefront, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
See.
Bye.